welcome. We are really excited to talk about the Human Leader Certification Program with you today. Now, whether you're joining us and you're already registered or not, our aim today is to give you some tangible sense of how the program will work and the kind of transformational journey that it's going to entail. So our intention today is to cover a little of what human leadership is and what our human leadership program will look like in 2023. And we'd also like to give you a little bit of a sense of the kind of experience that you can expect from our certification. So we'll also show you how to register for the program, what the next steps include, and we've got some time at the end of our session today to answer any questions that you might have. So please feel free to drop any questions that you have into the chat as we go. Via the chat box there. We are so glad that you're here. So before we dive in, just a little bit about our Human Leaders team. Firstly, my name is Alexis Sana. I'm the founder and the co-director of Human Leaders, and I will be one of your facilitators through the Human Leaders certification in 2023. So that means I will be available to you via the classroom sessions, also via the leadership circles and the other live learning materials that we will offer you through this program. And I am super passionate about helping you transform the way you lead so that human beings truly have an opportunity to thrive in our organizations. Now I'm going to pass you over to Sally Clark to introduce herself. Welcome, Sal.
Thanks so much, Alexis. Delighted to be here together with you all today. My name's Sally Clark. I'm co-director at Human Leaders, and I too will be facilitating the certification program. So available through those live sessions, sharing materials, and just open to your questions and to support you through this transformational journey of becoming a human leader. I'm based in Europe, so I'm also going to be focused on particularly the Northern Hemisphere cohort that will be joining us in the 2023 program. And I'm going to throw to Laura to introduce herself.
So, hello, my name is Laura Woolcott, and I am based in Australia, although I sound like I shouldn't be. But I am here in Australia, originally from the States, and I'm very excited to be a part of Human Leaders. I've been brought in specifically for the certification program, and I am the learning development partner for that program. So part of what I'm going to be doing is bringing some facilitation experience from my education background and also experience in working with learning and development in general. So what that means is bringing in some really unique and tailored experiences with activities and with learning environments and conversations that we can have that will help us grow and also make tangible ways for us to be able to take the materials that we learn throughout the program and really apply them in our own lives. And what I'm most passionate about is really trying to help people take words that were very commonly out there and redefine them and then apply them in our own lives and figure out what's the most effective way that we can be our true selves, but then defining what we want to do and just really be feeling empowered. So that's my role. I am excited to be a part of this program. And I thank you all for joining today as well. So I think I'll switch it back to Lex.
Thanks, Laura. So something that is really important to us and is actually something that's key for both us at Human Leaders and will form part of the Human Leaders certification program is the concept of presence. And to allow us to be a little more present and a little more grounded in the moment. And before we move into an activity, I just want us to take a moment to perhaps arrive. I know many of you have probably just finished your working day and perhaps are in the midst of cooking dinner or getting the kids home from school. And we live in a chaotic and a fast-paced world. So if you wouldn't mind, please just popping your devices away for the next 15, 20 minutes while we share this time together. And just for a moment, I'd love for you just to, where you are in your seat, if you're laying on your bed with the camera off, however you're joining us today, just take a moment to really feel where you are, perhaps feeling the soles of your feet really earthing into the ground. Notice your shoulders. Notice any tension that you may be carrying in your shoulders and your upper back and your neck, in your face, and just give yourself a moment to really release that, really allow that to melt away and just settle in and be with us here this evening as we move through our exercise. So if you'd like to, take a few deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth. Take a moment to ground, and I'm going to pass you over to Laura, who's going to introduce our first activity for tonight's session. Back to you, Laura.
Thank you. So part of what we want to share with you in this information session is, of course, about the certification, but more so we want you to experience what are the types of things that we're going to do. And so we love to have interactive activities. And if you feel comfortable, if you want to unmute, you could, or you can just pop your responses in the chat. But we like to just get people all on the same page so that we use those words, as I mentioned before, and know where we're coming from. So this is going to be a fun game. Some of the things we'll do in the certification are a bit more of like a gamified program. So all we're asking you to do is, I'm going to say a word, and I want you to just, the first thing that comes to mind, there's no right or wrong answer. Please do not overthink it. That's not the point of this. It's just, here's the word, the first thing that pops in your mind. And if you want to share that or pop it into the box. So we're going to go ahead and begin. The first word is the word human. Go. What do you think? We've got people. Great. Thank you for that. Connection. Fantastic. Leaders. Yeah, human leaders. Well done. And we've got heartbeat. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. So those are great answers. And sometimes we think, well, what does it do? What does it mean to be human? Having a heartbeat, yes, that is important. And then as someone answered, human leaders, well, yes, but what does that even mean? We've had other people say it's about connection, which is good. And then we've also had people say like, oh, it's just being alive and a person. And what does that mean? Okay, the second word is leader. What does it mean what's the first thing that pops into your mind when you hear the word leader? Vision. Great. Thank you. Connected. Someone said worth following. Just give another second in case we've got people still typing. Role model. How did I miss that one? That's a good one. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing those. And then we'll have one more. And what does it mean to be now? You've heard human, you've heard leader. What is a human leader? What's the first thing? What does that mean to you? Human leader. Okay, thanks. We've got compassionate. We've got connected again. In a previous session, we heard someone say challenging, and we thought empathy, and there's any words. And so part of what we want to do is just define what human leaders is to our group. Obviously, it's called human leaders. But what I would like for you to remember is that it's about people, right? It's about leadership. Thank you. We've got leadership on here. And it's about what does it mean to be a person, and just on a human level. Someone said, I can't think of just one word. That's okay too. There's a lot of things that are impacted. You know, what does it mean to be a leader? What does it mean to be a human? And all of those things. And so today it's not necessarily about the definition, whether it's someone who's a game changer, someone who's motivating. It's all just about what does that mean to you, and how are you going to define what that looks like, because you have the ability to do so. So we'll revisit this in a little bit, but I appreciate you both sharing a little bit of your ideas. And I challenge you to keep thinking about what does it mean. You know, some people have positive words when they think of humans, negative words when they think of leadership. If it had, how do you connect with that word? And so that was the purpose of that. So now what we're going to actually do then is, you kind of thought a little bit to yourselves about these things. We're going to ask Sally to really define what human leaders is in regards to what we are talking about today and in our program.
Thank you so much, Laura. And I love that exercise. It even gets me thinking. It almost challenges me to also rethink what human leaders and leadership means to me. So human leaders is a movement of people who want to change how we work. so that work is a place where humans, business, and society can thrive. So all the evidence shows us that if we want to create a better future, it really starts with us. I think historically we've seen leadership as something that was really about managing people, very externally focused, as if people were herds of cattle or numbers in a spreadsheet to be controlled and instructed. And human leadership is really a different kind of vision for a different kind of future. And it's one where we lead ourselves first. We lead others really well, and we take radical responsibility for our impact. So our vision is really one where we are, as unique individuals in the workplace, we can be fully present in our work and in what we do. So we speak a lot with leaders at all levels. And for us, leaders really can be anyone. It's irrespective of title or position or location or age or anything. There's leaders who feel really frustrated. They feel overlooked, thwarted, undermined, maybe bored, often overworked, disengaged, and often really disenchanted. And the common denominator to every workplace is it's people. And yet so often the way we work, the ways we work, the systems in which we work harm and damage us as humans rather than allowing us to thrive. So it's really understandable that a lot of people just resign themselves to this is just how it is. This is just what work is. We've all seen all the memes and all of the huge amount of material where we really have this idea that work is some kind of torturous thing which really undermines who we are and how we are as humans. But as human leaders, we know at a deep level that it doesn't have to be this way. So we've developed a really what I think is a beautiful framework at Human Leaders to really encapsulate what human leaders means and to break it down into some sort of bite-sized components. And Alexis, I'd love it if you could walk us through the framework of human leadership.
Yeah, thank you, Sal. So as you can see on the screen here, this is the human leadership framework that we've developed at Human Leaders. Now, this framework really underpins the entire journey through the human leadership certification. And each of these core pillars we actually work on through the certification. So beginning with the first core pillar of human leadership, we have self-leadership. And as you can see within that, there's three pieces to this. There's internal self-awareness, emotional regulation, and mastery of control. What we believe at Human Leaders is that it's not until we can master these things within ourselves that we're truly equipped to lead others in the most effective way possible. So once we've worked on elements of our self-leadership through the certification program, we'll then be moving into how we lead others. And the three pieces here in the leading others component of the human leadership framework is our external self-awareness, so really understanding how we move through the world, how we impact the world around us, and how others perceive us. Our mindful communication, so really understanding how we communicate with other people to build empathy, to truly connect, and to inspire things like trust and psychological safety in our organization. And lastly, here we have cultivating connection. And this is really the relationship piece of what it means to be a human leader. And I'm sure if you've opened a management textbook in the past, you'll know that we talk a lot about things like delegating, managing, productivity. These sorts of words come up really regularly when we talk about management function. At Human Leaders, we really want to understand what it means to connect to other human beings, to understand human beings, and to empower human beings. So this is where our cultivating connection piece comes in. Lastly, we look at the concept of radical responsibility. And what this means is really taking full and complete ownership of ourselves as leaders in all areas of our lives. So taking personal accountability within the workplace setting for everything that goes well, but also everything that goes wrong, and really getting comfortable with uncomfortable. Well-being is a big piece of our radical responsibility. This is because we know that unless we're taking care of ourselves as human beings, first and foremost, we actually can't function and perform as effectively as we can at our highest potential as a human leader. And lastly, here we look at the concept of evolution. And that is really imbuing and integrating mindsets and behaviors such as rethinking and being open and flexible to constantly changing our approach and how we move through the world, knowing that the world is ever changing from one day to the next. So this is, again, a really brief overview of the core components that are what make up human leadership. And this is what you can expect to move through in your 10-month journey in the Human Leaders certification. So I'm going to pass over to, I think, Laura. Are you jumping in next to share with us?
I'm going to jump in if that's okay.
Oh, Sal, absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for walking us through the framework, Lex. So I'd love to shift a little bit to talk about what the 2023 certification is going to look like, to give you a bit of a feel what you can expect over the course of the 10-month program. So it will run from late February to November 2023, consisting of 9 4-week modules. And each 4-week module, there'll be one live session, which will be scheduled twice to cater to different time zones, and around 8 to 10 hours of coursework, which can range from reading materials to exercises that you might do yourself or use with others, as well as asynchronous group work with your fellow human learners. And as Laura mentioned, there's going to be some really, I think, some really exciting exercises and components of the certification that are really set it apart from other sort of more traditional learning frameworks. We're really excited to share those with you through the course of next year. So the course is designed so you can do the work at times that work best for you and your schedule. We all know we're all busy and things tend to change from one week to the next. So we're going to offer regular live sessions together so that you stay connected and committed during the learning journey, but also can have some flexibility as to when you're doing other components of the certification. Materials will be delivered through our online platform by myself, Alexis, and Laura, as well as guest speakers. And assessments will take the form of you leading one of our live leadership circles within our community. There'll also be several written assessments and also some peer-reviewed assessments. So really focused in designing the program to be very accessible, flexible, asynchronous, but also very interactive and personal. And for me, one of the keywords here is transformative, because the growth that it takes, particularly I think through the self-leadership component that Alexis explained, this is not always easy work. This is often quite tough and challenging. And it's when we have that challenging sort of a look at ourselves and really evolving our self-leadership to leading others and drawing in the radical responsibility that we really do experience a transformation in who we are as humans and as leaders. So at the end of the 10 months, you'll have the insight, the know-how, and this increasing growing awareness to embody each of the components of human leadership in your work and beyond. So Laura, I'd love it if you'd be able to walk us through another exercise and sort of bringing together, I think, what we've just spoken to and have a bit of a reflection together.
So at this point, we invite you, if you would like to jump in the chat once again. And I just want to take you through, and you're welcome to share if you want. There's no obligation to do so, but I just want you to think. So we've talked about the framework, and then we've talked about the fact that we've invited you to this 10-month journey that will take you through what it means to be a leader, a human leader, and the different elements of those 3 pillars. And if you'll notice, the logo for human leaders is that fingerprint, which is unique to you and who you are. And at the end of the day, and the core that we will want to communicate is your leadership and your ability to be a leader and to be a human leader will be impacted by you, because it's all about who you are and who you want to be. So in this time, what we'd like you to do is just, if you're comfortable, you want to close your eyes, or you just kind of want to think, or you want to write something down, think about the journey that we're talked about in the 10-month program through that framework. In a year from now, because this is October, so we'd be coming to the end of the program as a participant, what would you like to be in your life? What would you like to be experiencing? And again, whether you're in the certification or not, what would you like to be doing in your life? What would that be like if you're in your work life, you're playing, you're living? For me, it's kind of walking down the beach with my dog, maybe. How do you want to be spending your time? How do you want to be spending your energy each day? As a part of that and that vision for who you want to be, what will the relationships that you're like? Relationships with coworkers, colleagues, friends, family, and beyond. What would that look like for you? And then start to think about, while you're envisioning yourself, what do you feel, how would you feel about yourself, your career, and the goals that you have in regards to your work life? And then we're going to ask you, and you're asked to do it now, but to continue this conversation with yourself to say, what is it going to take to get there? And if you've envisioned something in your mind of what that might look like this time next year, what is it going to take to get there, to be what you've envisioned? And if you would like to, we would invite you to be a part of the Human Leader Certification to help you get to where you've envisioned. So at this time, what the next step would be is taking in mind what you would like to do and achieve. There's a registration process that you're able to do for the certification, and that's going to bring in more information for you to understand more of the framework, the different sections of that certification program. And so we're going to open up the website now, and Alexis is going to talk to us a little bit about what the certification has, how to register, and how to get the information packet in case you haven't had that opportunity to read it yet.
Fantastic. Thank you, Laura. So I'm just going to take a moment to really quickly drive you through the registration process here on the Human Leaders website. So you'll find us at www.wearehumanleaders.com, and it's /certification for this certification program in particular. We'll pop that in the chat for you. So we're just going to jump straight to the certification page here in the top navigator. When you come onto the certification page, you're going to have two options. We've put the information pack for you in the chat this evening. However, if you don't have a copy of that, I would encourage you to start with that. So you get a copy of that information pack. It's going to give you everything that you'll expect through the 10-month program. It really does break that through over the months. And once you have had a read of that and you're comfortable with that, you'll be able to learn a little bit more around the delivery style of the session, what you can expect in terms of some of the lived experience, fantastic experts that will be curating, all of these sorts of things. So once you've had an opportunity to download that and take a look at the information pack, we would encourage you to register. Now, something to be very, very mindful here is that our certification program has a very limited number of intake for 2023. And this is because we're curating a really intimate and close group experience. So we really want to create the learning environment where you're in close contact with the leaders learning with you so that you can learn with and through one another. So as you can see here, our registrations do close on December 2nd of this year, 2022. Here you're going to learn a little bit more about the registration process. First and foremost, we're going to get you to fill this registration form in. And then from there, we will be reaching out to you directly with the enrollment materials. Now, there is absolutely no obligation from today's session to register. However, we do encourage you, even if you're just considering the program at this stage, to get your name onto the registration list, as if the cohort does fill up, unfortunately, we won't have an opportunity there for you until our 2024 program. So again, jump onto our website, head to the certification page, take a look at that the registration pack, the information pack, jump on, pop your registration in, and then we will reach out with the enrollment details, which let you know about the payment, etc. While you're on here, something that's also really helpful is our FAQ page. It's going to tell you a little bit more around what's included in the certification, the cost of the certification, the delivery method of the certification, your time investment in the certification. We hope everything that you may need to know about the program. So that is really briefly that registration journey.
So one other, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to hand back to you, Laura, for some questions.
So one other thing I just wanted to point out is that once you register, we do send out an information packet with more details that aren't available on the website. So we have found that some people, once they have that next level experience, a lot of the additional questions that they might have do get answered. And so what I thought we would do is, just because we're on the recording, if you all have some questions, we can put it on there on the chat. But what I thought we would do is go ahead and just kind of give the wrap up of the final thoughts, and then we'll stop the recording. And that way, if you would like to ask some specific questions, then you can do that. But again, keep in mind, you do have the FAQs available. The information pack is there, and there's no obligation when you register. It's just showing that you are very interested in the next steps, and then that'll get you the deeper, expanded kind of content of what else that we can talk. And then we're also available to answer questions in a one-on-one call or via email if needed. So Sally's going to wrap us up with some final thoughts, and then we'll come back to those questions.
Thanks so much, Laura. And thank you everyone for taking the time to join us here today. And we really appreciate your interest, and hope that we're able to address your questions and your curiosity fully, and give you the information you need so that you feel ready to register for the program. We really feel that this is going to be a really special group. As Alexis mentioned, it's quite an intimate group. It's going to be a really beautiful learning opportunity, and one for growth and transformation. So whether you're motivated by game-changing leaders or the brave voices who are bucking the trend on what leadership means, maybe you're motivated to action because of the frustration that you feel due to the current state of leadership, maybe in your organization or more generally. Whatever's driving your desire for change, the move towards a better future starts with you. So join us for this journey towards creating a world where business, humans, and society can thrive. And keep visualizing where you want to be in 2023, and register for the Human Leadership Certification to get yourself there. Thanks so much for joining us.